Hello everyone, it's Jamarl Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. Hope everyone is doing alright this morning. Guys, I want to thank everyone for your support of the channel. I'm going to do that before I start off. If you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe. You can always support through Patreon. And I would even say, if you really enjoy the content, and I'm being earnest, if you enjoy the content and you find yourself coming back often, please consider supporting the Patreon. I want to get off needing monetization from YouTube. That said, let's go to another story for today. And this one is going to be relatively quick. I just found this one to be interesting. I hit on the story yesterday, but there was something odd about the story yesterday that I didn't necessarily fully go into, but I want to go into today, which is why I'm hitting it again. CNN comes out with a bombshell story. I think this is back in July. In the report, CNN says that even though Donald Trump has said that he knew nothing about the meeting with the lawyer, that Michael Cohen, with the Russians, with his son and the Russians, Michael Cohen, CNN says Michael Cohen was going to give testimony to Mueller that he did. And you can imagine chest stomping all around. Yes! We got him! We knew he was lying! We knew it was something between Trump and the Russians. We got him! We're doing our job as newsmen. This is a new Watergate. Anderson Cooper is one of these guys who are in it just to get to the bottom of the truth. CNN put this story out. You can imagine this will be somewhat of a bombshell. Even though, who cares? It's not illegal for him to do that. You should look back at what Nixon was doing. Nixon was committing treason when Nixon was going behind the scenes. And look, I'm not going to defend that. I'm just saying it doesn't really matter if it was true or not because it wasn't illegal, but it wasn't true. Now, the thing is, everybody has said that it wasn't true. CNN comes out with a bombshell story, and they're the most trusted name in news. And because CNN said it, of course, it has to be true. And we find out for the umpteenth time that they get it wrong. And not just get it wrong, they get it wrong dramatically, always, in one particular singular direction, and that is against Trump. All objectivity has been thrown out the window. Now, here's the thing. I have a few stories dealing with this today. BuzzFeed, dramatically, as dramatic you can get on a page, comes out with this. Lanny Davis said he was the source of the CNN Tower story. Now, the story that I just mentioned, where CNN says that Donald Trump knew about it, the source to CNN, the anonymous source to CNN, was Lanny Davis. All right, Jamal, who the hell is Lanny Davis? Why are you telling us about Lanny Davis? Lanny Davis is the lawyer to Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen, the lawyer that got busted, that was supposed to be testifying for Mueller. So essentially the lawyer of the lawyer. Now, this is the lawyer of the lawyer on CNN discussing this to Anderson Cooper.
You were just on with Wolf Blitzer, and you said that Michael Cohen was present for a meeting with then candidate Trump and his son Don Jr. about the Trump Tower meeting. This is obviously an incredibly important issue. You've also said that Michael Cohen testified truthfully to the Senate Intelligence Committee, and according to the chair and the vice chair of the committee, he told them that he had no knowledge of the meeting until he saw it in the press. How can both those things be true? Either he knew about the meeting or he didn't know about the meeting.
Well, I think the reporting of the story got mixed up, and in the course of a criminal investigation, we were not the source of the story. And in the course of a criminal investigation, the advice we were given, those of us dealing with the media, is that we could not do anything other than stay silent.
So,
all right. He said we're not the source of this information. Well, we have a problem now. We have a problem. What's true? So, give me 1 second. There we are. I have all of these views. Here we are. So what's true? BuzzFeed comes out and says That guy's the source. Now, he comes out later on and says, okay, I was the source. He admits it in BuzzFeed. He outs himself. He says, I was indeed the source. I was the source. I gave CNN this information. So, just so we're clear, and I know this is confusing, at the very least it's confusing to me. The lawyer of the lawyer of the lawyer of the lawyer of Trump says that Trump knew something. He tells CNN this. He's the source of this. The Washington Post and the New York Post immediately goes to try to confirm this story of the anonymous source that CNN has. And it goes to same guy. It goes to the anonymous source because it's anonymous. They have no idea who the source is. They go to him. And they ask Davis, hey, is what CNN saying is true? He says yes. And so now CNN has cooperation, but they get cooperation from the exact same guy. So the media establishment is running around with a story from one guy, and that one guy comes out and says, okay, I lied. Maybe not lied, maybe I misspoke. But what you guys are saying is wrong. I don't know anything about this. Washington Post, New York Times, or New York Post come on and says, okay, fair enough. This guy was indeed our source. And because this guy says he doesn't know anything about it, clearly our story has to be bogus. We retract the story. But not CNN. CNN has not retracted this story at all. CNN says we stand by our source. Now, the interesting point to this is he's on with Anderson Cooper. But CNN already knows that he's the source. Why is CNN asking these questions? Meaning, did CNN put this guy on the air to lie in order to hide the fact that he was the anonymous source? That's what I'm asking. The moment that they had him on that air, they already knew that the guy was the source. When he's being asked questions, they know that that's the anonymous source of their reporting. Did CNN put him on the air knowing that he was going to lie in order to hide the fact that he was CNN's source? That's what I'm asking. Because that's what it looks like. Because I was like, why are they asking him questions? If they knew he was the source, why is he being asked questions? This is the source that CNN was using. All right, so let's go to Greenwald, because Greenwald nails this awesomely. And he's thinking in similar ways that I am on this, where I was like, well, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. What the hell is CNN doing? Is CNN lying? So, right here. CNN's blockbuster July 26th story that Michael Cohen intended to tell special counsel Robert Mueller that he was Donald Trump was told in advance about his son's Trump Tower meeting with various Russians include key statements about its sourcing that credible reporting now suggests was designed to mislead its audience. Yet CNN refuses to address the serious ethical and journalistic questions raised about his conduct. You had an anonymous source. You brought that anonymous source on air to say that he was not, in fact, the anonymous source. This is amazing. The substance of all CNN's story itself regarding Cohen, which made headline news all over the world, and which CNN hyped as a bombshell, now has been retracted by other news outlets that have originally purported to confirm CNN's story. That's because the anonymous source for its confirmation, Cohen's lawyer, Lanny Davis, now admits that in essence, his confirmation was false. As a result, both the Washington Post and the New York Post outed Davis as their anonymous source and then effectively retracted their stories confirming parts of CNN's report. CNN, however, has retracted nothing. They've retracted nothing. All inquiries to the network are directed to a corporate spokesperson who simply says, we stand by our story and we're confident in our reporting of it. A newsletter since Sunday night from CNN's two media reporters, Brian Stelter and Oliver Darcy, contained the same corporate language but addressed none of the questions raised by CNN's report. Axios reported that Cohen testified under oath to Congress that he has no knowledge that Trump has prior knowledge of the meeting and repeated this to leaders of the Senate Intelligence Committee again after CNN's report. Davis now says Cohen, rather than intending to tell Mueller he has information, stands by his long-held claim that he has none. So the key people with knowledge on what CNN reported, Cohen and his own lawyer insist that CNN's reporting about Cohen knows about what Cohen knows and intends to tell Mueller is false. So which is true? Are they lying to Mueller in Congress, or is CNN wrong? CNN wrong. Nonetheless, it's possible that other sources did tell CNN that Cohen does have this information and intends to share it with Mueller, and that Cohen's own lawyer is unaware of this or is lying about it. It's not likely, obviously, but it's theoretically possible. Unfortunately, CNN refuses to tell us anything about it itself. I'm sorry, let's try it one more time. Unfortunately, CNN refuses to tell us anything about it itself. Said was a blockbuster story, so it's impossible to know. Now, the second part to this is the part that I just kind of hit up myself. But there's an entirely separate and more significant question about CNN's behavior, namely the very specific claim about their sourcing for the blockbuster story. Last night, BuzzFeed reported that Davis explicitly confessed that he was one of the anonymous sources for CNN's 26 story, and that he was, for the story, Jesus Christ, the wording of this is strange. Last night, BuzzFeed reported that Davis explicitly confessed that he was one of the anonymous sources for CNN's 26 story, just as he was for the stories from the Washington Post and the New York Post. Last week, CNN put Davis on the air with Anderson Cooper to deny that he was the source for CNN's story. A denial Cooper did not contest, but Davis now admits he was one of CNN's sources, if not their main source. I guess the question is, did CNN know that he was the source? Clearly CNN had to know that he was the source, or one of the sources. And when they put him on the air and he denied that he was one of the sources, that's effectively putting one of your sources on air to lie about whether or not they're a source. That's so strange and bizarre. CNN believes this is okay and ethical behavior. Clearly, they haven't repudiated their own behavior. Where's Jake Tapper? Where's the fact check team with Jake Tapper? Contacted by CNN, one of Cohen's lawyers, Lanny Davis, declined to comment. Yet remarkably, CNN in July 26 story specifically claimed that Davis refused to talk to CNN about the story or provide any comment whatsoever. Now Davis said he's the source of the story. CNN is saying that Davis, the same one who is the source of the story, has declined to comment. The same one who Anderson Cooper put on to decline to comment. Does CNN believe this is ethical behavior? Does CNN believe this is ethical behavior? Only one of two things can be true here, and either is extremely significant. One, CNN deliberately lied to his audience about Davis refusing to comment on the story when in fact Davis was the one anonymous source in which CNN report depended on, and the CNN claimed Davis refused to comment in order to hide Davis's identity as one of their anonymous sources. Or Davis is lying now to BuzzFeed when he confessed to having been one of CNN's sources to the story. Either there's a big bombshell from the standpoint of BuzzFeed putting out something that's bogus, or the CNN is putting out something that's bogus. But in this case, one of these media organizations is putting out something that's completely bogus, because both things cannot be true. Both things can be true. How can CNN possibly justify refusing to address these questions and refrain from informing the public about the critical matters on a story that they themselves hyped for days as a blockbuster, one that most significant stories yet in Trump-Russia saga? Questions about this massive discrepancy from The Intercept to Stelter have not been answered, nor has CNN addressed this on air with any other media outlets having inquired, with any of the other media outlets that inquired. Darcy told The Intercept that he was not aware of the sourcing issues of the story and suggested inquiries to be directed to CNN Public Relations Department. Oh, that's nice. Isn't it awesome how multinational corporations just pay people when they fuck up? If CNN lied about Davis having refused comment when, in fact, he was one of the anonymous sources, then this is obviously a major journalism scandal. If, by contrast, Davis, who had been treated by the U.S. media as a reliable source despite decades of lying, and who leveraged the treatment to raise more than $150,000 in a GoFundMe Truth Fund campaign for Cohen to pay Davis, is lying about having spoken to CNN about the July 26 report, that is also a major story. Look, in either case, How is CNN not commenting on it? Either CNN is wrong or BuzzFeed is wrong. But in either case, CNN hyped this up to be a major story, and CNN need to address what at this point seems to be a massive failure. Seems to be a massive failure. So I'm most trusted name in news. I love this. Up to this point, the Washington Post has pulled out. The New York Post has pulled out. This seems to be a discredited story. What is CNN going to say about it? Is CNN going to say anything about it? Or is CNN going to pretend as if the dog didn't just take a dump on a rug and everybody just sits on watching TV as if it's not a pile of crap sitting right there beside it? CNN. CNN. Most trusted name in news. My ass. Let's see. Who's here? In fact, I have a few shows that I want to do today, so I may just leave from this one and go on to the next one. Yeah. All right. I'm going to leave this one and go to the next one because I have a few more that I want to do. So if you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe. You can always support through Patreon. And someone has just done an awesome thing. Guys, I appreciate your assistance with the show. I don't know if I said it. If you want to contribute to the show, you can do so by Streamlabs. Streamlabs, I have a link below in the description box. Clicking on it will essentially bring up a little application that allows you to give through PayPal. A little Vulcan, or I think Scotty, will pop up and wave and shake. I even think one of them has Q. I think the one with the highest donation gets Q, dancing a jig or something. So, Jake fact check that. Oops, Tapper. We called Rachel Maddow to fact check these claims. CNN was misled our audience. She confirmed we are not. Also suggested it might be Russian bots trying to push fake news through Trump. Jake fact check that. Oops, Tapper. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Where's Jake Tapper? We need the fact check team. We need to figure out what's taking place. We need to either fact check BuzzFeed or Jake to fact check Anderson Cooper. But either way, we need the fact check team to fact check something, because CNN may have just fucked up with its facts and got its facts wrong. I like saying the words facts. I like the way you use your mouth when you say facts. Fact check. Not to mention, I love the irony of fact checking again and the fact check wrong. CNN needs to respond to this, and they need to give a message on whether or not they got this wrong. They blew this up as if this was a major bombshell. How are you standing by a story that's being retracted in multiple outlets? Where is CNN? Where's CNN? Fake news. Fake news. Fake news indeed. Have you noticed how many stories at this point of CNN have retracted? How many? And all of them, again, one direction against Trump. And this is not even coming from somebody who likes Trump, but is someone who can be aware of what seems to be a trend in a very specific direction. CNN seems to be pushing fake news. The other organizations have the temerity, the integrity to at least acknowledge it. CNN at this point has not. I'll leave it here. All right, guys. If you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe. You can always support through Patreon. Thanks, everyone.